Well, today marks 5 years since the death of Nelson Mandela. The former president died at the age of 95 in his Houghton home after a lung infection. His friend and fellow struggle veteran, Dr Essop Pahad, joining us on the line for some reflection this morning. Dr Pahad, a very good morning to you. Thanks for your time this morning. And
thank you very much.
What are you remembering? How are you feeling this morning? What did you wake up thinking about Madiba this morning?
Well, first of all, when I think of Madiba, I think of what is happening to the African National Congress today. You see, we must never separate Mandela from the African National Congress. Mandela became a great hero, an icon, a wonderful, wonderful human being because of the African National Congress, because of his activities in the ANC. The ANC molded him and he molded the ANC. And so there was a fantastic relationship between Mandela and the African National Congress and other great leaders of the Congress movement. Walter Sisulu, Governor Mbeki, Raymond Mhlamba, Yusuf Datu, Brown Fisher. These are all people who made an indelible contribution to the liberation of our country. And Mandela was, if you like, with Oliver Tambo, a giant among giants of that struggle.
Mr. Pahad, just looking at, just some recent criticism, and I even spoke to his granddaughter Ndileka a little earlier, saying, yes, there has been some questioning of his legacy. Did he sell South Africa out? Did he do the right thing at the right time? Just your thoughts on that, if we have to look back.
Well, first of all, Mandela was a human being, an iconic figure. And as a human being, of course he had his weaknesses, he had his frailties, of course he made mistakes. It's only those who don't do anything that don't make mistakes. The question is that these revisionists who want to rewrite history, who want to project Mandela as somebody who did not make that immense contribution that he did, are talking absolute nonsense. Now, Mandela stood for things which were ANC policies. Let me say, even while Mandela was on Robben Island, the ANC had evolved the policy of reconciliation. We had the policy, and this was confirmed at our Kappa conference, that we do not seek Nuremberg trial things. We do not seek revenge. What we wanted was a free, independent, democratic South Africa, united as our Constitution says, in all our diversity. And I think we must understand that that part of the Constitution comes from the African National Congress, comes from the Freedom Charter, which says that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white. So yes, all of us have made mistakes. Yes, we could have done much better. But I think there can be no doubt that Mandela and those of his colleagues at that time made an immense, immense contribution to the liberation of our people.
Dr. Pahad, you say you cannot think about him, of course, without thinking about the ANC. You would think about the ANC. And just looking at other sentiments coming through, and I'm just looking at one of our front pages here, and it's a comment obviously coming from an opposition party, from one of the others, saying that Madiba's dream is in tatters, that his national cohesion project has been abandoned and replaced by increased racial tension. And just to make that link now between what his dream was and what the ANC is today, do you agree with that?
No, not. You know what? We mustn't just follow nonsense. Of course, racism is still there in South Africa, and of course, we have to struggle and struggle and struggle to achieve our objective of a non-racial, non-sexist democratic society. But nobody in their right minds can say that South Africa today is more racist than it was before 1994. If you take the overwhelming majority of our people, I'm talking about what we classify as Africans in South Africa, let us not forget that what apartheid and racism did was to remove from the millions and millions of our people their fundamental human dignity. That has been restored back to our people. We live in a democratic society. We live in a society in which people have the freedom of expression, the freedom of assembly. We have a wonderful constitution. And above all, in my view, we have a wonderful, wonderful, forgiving people who demonstrated they have the capacity to conduct a struggle, but who demonstrated that when the time came, they were able to recognize what was needed in this country. And I think we must pay great, great contribution to the masses of our people.
Thank you very much, Dr. Essop Pahad, fellow struggle veteran there of the late Nelson Mandela. Just reflecting, 5 years today is when he passed and left us, and those reflections will continue throughout the day here on ANC Partner.